It is Saturday, February 8th, and I am going to go out this afternoon and start shed hunting. I'm going to also do my winter scouting and try to locate a buck bed of one of the bucks that I hunted all season and try to see if I can get a good idea of where he's coming and going. And lastly, I am going to head to a spot that I hunted a lot last season but was always out of the game. I'm going to reposition the sticks and get a little closer, and I'll go into more detail about that setup and why I'm setting up there. So stay tuned. I'll go into a little more detail about the setup that I had here. So right here is where I'd had my trail camera. I put that there probably the end of October. And the reason why I picked that spot is I have a path here, which the creek crossing was just right there at about 10 yards that they were constantly coming and going from. And then directly behind me is I have another path right here. So what I did is I ended up putting a mock scrape right here and just let them take it over. And like all of November, I should back up, end of October all the way through November until the camera died in early December, I had every buck that was on this property, which it's not that big of a property, but I had every buck on this property coming to this scrape. The only problem, like I said, is where I was set up, I was just too far. I was 10 yards out of that scrape, and I had a whole bunch of thick brush that I couldn't punch an arrow through. So the tree that I decided to set up in is right over here, and I've already put a couple climbing sticks. I got to go grab a climbing stick from another set that I didn't use, but I got 2 climbing sticks so far. I'm going to put a 3rd climbing stick, and that should get me high enough up there with still enough good back cover. But what that allows me to do is that allows me to be probably an 8-yard shot to that scrape. The buck that I've hunted the last 2 seasons, last year I had gotten down, made a switch, and was getting set up, and over here by this big cedar tree, I heard what sounded like a deer walking. I look over and he's at about 15 yards coming down a trail right here out of this thick brush over here. I was able to get my bow and I was able to draw back, but he ended up winding me. I tried to take a shot right before he bailed out, missed him altogether. So the year before that I had him at 10 yards, but he was in a block of thick brush and I couldn't get a shot, and I didn't want to risk it. So yeah, he uses this area constantly. He's a homebody. I get him every single summer here. He summers here, he falls here, and he winters here. So I'm hoping with setting up at this spot and waiting until about end of October, November this year, if all goes right, I should get a good clean shot at him. So that's the plan. Another reason why I like to also do everything in the winter is it allows me to go ahead and get all of my entry and exit trails set up, so I'm not coming back in here in the summer and just making a bunch of racket, stinking up the whole area for them to only remember that in about a month and a half, 2 months. So that's why I like to get everything done now. Got plenty of time before season starts for these deer to get reacclimated to all the commotion that I make. So typically I like to do all this and by before turkey season, which here in Missouri starts the end of April, I like to have all of my new setups done, all of my entry and exit points done, all of my scouting done. I will have been done with shed hunting by that point, and then just let the woods just calm back down for that next fall. So I walked probably about 400 yards down to another setup that I have, and whenever I was walking over here, came across our first shed of the day right here. Looks like a decent one. Oh, yeah, that's not bad at all. Looks like a probably a 2-year-old. I have a ton of 2-year-olds that are on this property that are looking like they're going to be pretty nice here in another 2 years or so. But yeah, he was laying, it was laying right here, just about right there, if you can see, just right down from that stand. So it's nice to know that you do all your scouting and you set up in the right spots. I'd probably pass this deer, if it's the deer that I'm thinking of, I'd pass this deer multiple times. So like I said, he'll be nice here in about 2 more years, but first shed of the season, and so far it's a decent one, so we'll see if we can find any more. So I just got done setting up the sticks for that new setup over by the creek crossing, and I was coming out the back side of where I set that up, and I'm pretty sure I just came across the other side of that first antler that I found. And what's cool about this is there's still some velvet, so that is definitely pretty neat. Yeah, I've not found many matching sets in my day, but yeah, here's another one. And what makes it so nice is it is literally next to where I just set up, and the first one I found, which is the other side, is at the other site that I've set up. So definitely let you know that you're in the right spot. So this what I just found is a prime example of why you want to do winter scouting, because you will not find this in the summer. So right here behind me is a creek that I use to access a stand that is about 300 yards down this way. And I have a trail camera set up down there, and there's a buck that I'm always trying to go after, and he's always on camera daylighting, but every time I sit there I never see him. And about 2 days after hunting that spot, pick him right back up on camera. So I wondered why. Well, I found out why. So I was walking in this creek, and where I usually access in, I decided to pop up on to the opposite side, and what I ended up finding is this, which I know it's kind of hard to see, but that is a ginormous rub. And at first I kind of looked at it, I'm like, is it a rub or is it not a rub? But I found exactly what I was looking for, which is right here. And this is why you winter scout. Found a piece of deer hair right there. So I started kind of getting on my hands and knees, because as you can see, it's just absolutely just thick right here. So I started getting on my hands and knees, and sure enough, I found a bunch of deer hair. Of course, you can tell that the ground is matted down, and you can see the outline of how the deer had been laying. So basically, the reason why I wasn't catching up with this deer is he is bedding. He's bedding right behind me, and he's watching my entry point, which is right there. So he's literally just sitting here watching me enter, take the creek, and get my tree. So that's why I'm not seeing them when I'm actually hunting, but picking them up in this area. So again, this is why you want to winter scout. If I would have come in here in the summer, I would have never gotten to this, because it would have been thick, it'd have been overgrown, you would have never found the deer hair. So yeah, now the situation is I got to try to find out a better way to access, which is almost next to impossible. The reason why I accessed there is it was the easiest route, plus it was the creek, so I thought I'd be low enough to sneak past these deer. And for the most part I am, because it's still a productive stand. But for the actual deer that I want to hunt, he is literally sitting there watching that access point, and I'm never even having a shot at him. So another option I have, which is probably what I'm going to do, is I'm just going to have to relocate that stand to where I don't even have to come to that exit or that entry and exit route, and instead catch him getting up and trying to sneak out in case he fears or smells anything that he doesn't like. So I took his trail out, and the reason why I'm convinced that it is a mature buck is 2 reasons. The first is, if you don't know, mature bucks are always going to take their own trail. They're never going to take the trail that every other deer uses. That's does, fawn, immature bucks. They're always going to skirt and take a very faint trail. So if you can find what looks like a trail but a not heavily used trail, definitely follow it, because what I did is I actually did it in reverse. I found a deer bed because I had an idea of where he was bedding. So I found his deer bed. I then followed his trail out. And then the second reason why I know that it's going to be for sure probably a mature buck bed is all around where I came out of are a series of rubs. Here's a rub right here, rub right here, and a rub right here. I also found historical rubs. Say hello, Clayton.
Hello.
I found historical rubs right here, which tells me that this buck has been using this spot for multiple years, or another buck that is mature, probably one that I've probably harvested out of here in the past, has also used this. So that means that whatever the dominant buck is in the area feels safe enough to bed there. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually I'm not going to do it today. I'm going to come back again either later this month or in March, and I'm going to reposition the stand. I'm going to hunt it over here. Most likely he's setting up on or he's bedding here on a north wind, because that's going to be the wind to his back, and he's able just to check that creek for anything coming, like myself. So what I'm going to end up having to do is hunt him off wind, which is fine. And I am going to walk his trail until it meets up with what looks like the main trail, and find a tree that is just enough of an off wind, and that's where I'm going to set up. So again, if you're new to this or you're just not sure, that is how you know that you've probably found a mature buck trail, bedding area, and entry and exit route is based off of that faint trail, obviously the deer bed. And another thing is they're gonna rub in their beds, which is what I found, what I showed you guys. And then the big one is you're going to find rubs either from last year or historical rubs coming and going from that faint trail. Just found our second shed of the day. It's a small one, but still, I ended up finding the main trail and following it right out to the opening, and right there found the second shed. So like I said, it's small, nothing big, but still came right out of those woods where I found the bed. Basically, the spot I'm in is just an open section of grass that connects 2 blocks of timber. I mainly rifle hunted out here, but yeah, that's a nice second find. All right, well, Clayton just found his second ever deer shed. Just a tiny one right here, but we were just walking along. We were heading to one of the stands that I have. If you've watched any of my videos, it's the railroad crossing that I hunt. But yeah, Clayton's walking along and he goes, "Dad, look, a shed." And sure enough, right here. Go ahead, bud. So yeah, just one of the many small bucks that we have on this property here, but hey, we'll take it. Good job, buddy. That's going to do it for today's episode. All in all, it's a successful day. Found that bed that I'm pretty sure that my main buck is using. So like I'd mentioned, I'll go back in here in a couple weeks and reset up to hunt that this fall. And it was nice finding a pair of matching antlers today. I probably will shed hunt. I'll probably give them a couple more weeks. I've still got trail camera photos of deer holding antlers, so I'll head out in a couple more weeks and start scouting. Like I'd mentioned before, I'm done with all my scouting, all my shed hunting and everything by turkey season. So yeah, if you could, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.